Hello, my name is Nicholas. I'm a Bodhisattva, and I'm going to talk about my personal understanding of the first three Buddhist precepts from the book Opening to Oneness by Nancy Mujo Baker. Now, one thing you need to understand before this whole thing is that if you're viewing these precepts as should and should not, you're actually starting off on the wrong foot, even though right and wrong are relative to the person viewing it. Because if you're doing that, you're not acknowledging the same capacity within yourself, and you are killing an aspect of yourself. And on that note, let's start with the first precept: not killing. Now, this isn't just meant in a physical aspect of not taking life, but also in a subconscious metaphysical aspect as well. Seeing others as separate from yourself. A non-dual versus, a dual versus non-dual way of thinking. Because this is the very, obvious follow-through line of every single spiritual practice, is that every single intense spiritual experience is the separation of individuality from all of existence. That's why they say God is unconditional love, is because when you are in those states, you feel unconditional love for all beings, because you're able to unconditionally love yourself on a conscious and subconscious level. You're able to acknowledge the aspects of yourself that you don't really like and you normally suppress. So you're no longer seeking external validation for those qualities by placing judgment on other beings. One thing in Buddhism that is known as the conditioned and non-conditioned realm, or unconditioned realm. And this is the conditioned realm, where everything is relative to the everything else. There's me, and then there's the shirt I've got. It's that the idea of me needs to exist in context to everything else for a sense of individuality to actually be established. And that is what leads to this dual nature of existence, or this dual view of nature, and it is ultimately an illusion. Another thing we can kill is actually, I'm looking at my notes by the way, is killing time in a phrase. But the thing is, we are actually killing time. We are killing the present moment. We are killing our peace that comes with simply existing. This is why the term patience, when referring to patient people, isn't really applicable, because that person knows that the present moment is all that has ever existed. And you too know that from the moment you were born until the moment you die, the present moment is the only thing that has ever actually existed, and the past no longer exists, and the future is yet to be written. So on a subconscious level, your mind is chasing your conscious mind, and your conscious mind is chasing your subconscious mind. You're worried about the future consciously because subconsciously there's something you've repressed, and you're worried that it's going to happen again due to a past experience. You can't exist as is. Think of this mental exploration as if there's a rat trapped in a very small bowl or a cylinder. If it's really small, the rat's going to go back and forth and go, oh, what do I do? How do I get out of here? But as your sense of self, your conscious awareness of self expands, the walls get bigger. So the rat would just look around for a bit, and it wouldn't feel the need to run around and explore everything. It can just have more space to exist. This is what your conscious expansion is like when you meditate or pray. You are becoming more aware of why you do the things you do on a conscious and subconscious level, so you no longer feel the need to go back and forth between the past and the present. Second Buddhist precept, non-stealing. Let's go with another kind of metaphysical example of stealing from the present moment. An example given in the book is a medieval poem from China that talks about someone dyeing their graying hair. If you're dyeing your graying hair, again, you are stealing from the present moment because you're identifying yourself with someone from the past. You can't exist as you are because you are identifying you as your body. But that's the thing, the true self that can experience this unconditional non-duality existence, this non-dual love, unconditional love, is not the body, it is not your mind, it's not your thoughts, it's the being. You are the being that is observing your thoughts in your reality. And you can't come to this realization until you do enough shadow work to actually understand that. Another thing that we can steal from is other people. We can steal their truth. For example, and again, this is a broad generalization, but it's very applicable in today's society. Let's say there's a person of color trying to explain to a white person, hey, your system it's a systemic oppression, and I am, like I am against this and it is against me, and you are somehow profiting off this. So the white person's going to go, well, no, no, wait, hold on, because they have to defend their singular point of view. They are not hearing this other person's truth. They are comparing and contrasting it to their own. Because if they were actually listening, then this means that they would have to go, wait a second, there's something that this means that there's something about myself that I am actually profiting off a system that is, you know, getting this profit off another person. So rather than confronting that, they have to compare and contrast it with their own individual view of reality, because confronting it is just too painful. This also leads into my next point, where we can actually steal from ourselves by only identifying with aspects of ourselves that we like. You think of this in a thought experiment. So let's say there's a screened-in porch and there's two insects trapped on the porch, a butterfly and a mosquito. Now, there's three things that can happen here. Well, maybe four. So and again, there's no wrong answer, so just be truthful. The only wrong answer is if you lie. I hope I've made that point clear at this point. So, you can either walk past the insects because they're insects. You can kill both the insects because you have some sort of sadistic desire to. You can save the butterfly, which is what most people would do, or you can save both the butterfly and the mosquito. Why do you do this, and why is the response that people have different? It's because on a subconscious level, you are projecting the qualities that you identify with onto the butterfly or the mosquito. If you save the butterfly, it's because you see that the beauty in its wings and the way it flutters through the air is somehow more representative of the qualities and aspects that you identify with on a subconscious level, while you are shunning the aspects that you place upon the mosquito. And if you save both of them, it's because you are acknowledging that there are aspects of yourself that are both good and not so good, but all is worthy of acknowledgement and integration into the true understanding of self. And again, both of these insects will drink your blood. So that's also kind of the joke as well. And this is also seen in a quote of acknowledging all aspects of us with the famous Buddhist paradox of, if you think I am divine, I am not divine. If you think I am not divine, I am. it's trying to show that it is a paradoxical mirror. You are applying qualities that you don't see within yourself onto other people. That's why people that are gurus or spiritual teachers or saints, it's you're giving them your sovereignty. You are placing them above you, and they know that there is nothing that you actually like. There's nothing different. That you're just going, oh, this person knows a lot. It's like, no, no, that's the thing. You're just uncomfortable with your own existence. On a subconscious level, you can't acknowledge yourself as divine, so you place it upon other beings while saying you are somehow unworthy because you can't you can't feel unconditional love for yourself because God is unconditional love. So if you can't unconditionally love yourself, you are then seeking external validation by placing these qualities onto other beings or other people. And you're looking for a halo above their head. And every time you go to the mirror in the bathroom and don't see one above yours, you're saying, I'm not worthy of unconditional love, which, you know, is very prideful. If that's the trick. If the love is unconditional and you're placing a condition on it that you are somehow not meeting, that's pride. That's the trick of that first sin, which leads you to seeking external validation through excess, be it through lust or greed, to fill the void of the sense of self. It's why you don't have peace. So yeah, that one took me a long time to figure out. By the way, I'm just saying, I'm not trying to brush it off or anything. It's just like, once you realize that, you're just like, oh, okay, huh? Well, how about that? I heard it compared to uh, everyone is in their own jail cell, but the joke is that there is no door on the jail cell. That's it. It's just like, oh, okay, well, how about that? So the third precept of not misusing sex or sexual misconduct, this one is, again, it's not just the obvious ones of imposing your will upon another through things like the R word or uh, adultery. It's that you are seeing another being as separate from you. You are seeing them as an object to be chased or held on to, because that is uh, increasing your perception of obtaining them. There is nothing to obtain, there's nothing to hold on to. And by doing that, you are seeing them as separate from you. And this is also shows why S&M and BDSM and all that, again, not judging, calling the kettle black in that case, uh, is not actually a good thing because it is reinforcing an extremely dualistic viewpoint of the self and the other. There is a person having an act done onto them and a person doing the act. And this comes from a subconscious trauma that has been repressed because your body's nervous system is processing pain as an expression of love, both for the sadist and the masochist. The sadist is doing it because, on a subconscious level, they view that they can only have this control, and this control is viewed as an expression of love because when they were a kid, their will was violated in some way, be it physically or emotionally, and so they're processing this control as love, while the masochist is processing their essentially lack of uh, will, the violation of it, as an expression of love because this is how they grew up. And this is contrasted greatly by the idea and act of tantric sex and Eastern practices. Tantric sex is one pointed consciousness. It is essentially an extended orgasm. That's why people get addicted to sex, is because that is normally the only way that you can achieve this one pointed consciousness without meditation. And when you are engaging in a deep level of tantric sex or just love making, you are getting rid of the idea of a separation of self. There is nothing to grab onto because you are sharing a moment with a person, but all acts of sharing require a disillusion of separation. And that is, yeah, that's Yep, I ran out of notes. Okay, those are my notes and my understanding on the first three Buddhist precepts. So if you liked it, leave a like. If you disliked it, dislike it. If you have any questions, leave some comments in the comment section, and I'm sure I'll catch you next time.